Mazel tov, everyone. We have almost made it through Passover, but all you non-car people out there do not count because you have made zero sacrifice. Over this past week, I've heard so many great stories about people's Seders, how they loved that it was a weekend so they could stay later and enjoy their families, how 4 cups of wine made it seem like a regular Saturday night, but they liked the Hebrew thrown in. All in all, it sounds like everyone's Seders were a success. Because that was the case, I assumed everyone would be in a good mood, but in reality, everyone I know is bloated and tired of eating cardboard, so I thought, not that. So how about the obvious? I could talk about the obvious, which is the Torah portion. Not that. It is Shmini this week. It is the portion when Nadav and Avihu, the sons of Aaron, offer strange fire to God and are consequently and pretty much immediately killed by God for doing so. And what does their father do? Vayidom Aharon. And Aaron was silent. Okay, that's awful. Let's go to the news. There must be something good there. Nope. Measles, retirement accounts evaporating, earthquakes in California, and the shooting at Florida State. I'll stop. What about in our congregation? There is some good news there. We had at least two new babies, a boy and a girl, born into the family just this week, and I'm sure there are more that we have not heard about. We had 4 kids from the same family sing all 4 questions together beautifully at our congregational Seder, and if you weren't knocked out by their cuteness, you were for sure knocked out by their fluency. I've also spoken to many parents who are preparing for college graduations, high school graduations, prom, all kinds of good stuff. And for those of us who have kids in travel sports, that's almost over too. Somehow there's always something good, always something joyful. We can always find something or someone to motivate us to keep going, to remind us of how lucky we are, no matter what we have or don't have. And that motivation can lead us all to do great things. When I thought about this, it made me realize that I wanted to share this with you. Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor and creator of logotherapy, often quoted Nietzsche when he said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." I had never heard this quote before, but I did this week, and once I heard it one time, I heard it over and over and over in my head. There is an episode of the podcast Call Me Back being shared hundreds, if not thousands of times on the internet. It is a podcast moderated by Dan Senior, author of 2 books on Israel and knower of all things Jewish. In fact, he is delivering the State of World Jewelry address at the 92nd Street Y this May. In preparation for Passover, Dan decided to invite his old friend, Rachel Goldberg Poland, to speak about the meaning of the holiday in the midst of war and grief. Tomorrow morning at 10:30 at our Yizkor service, I will be talking about the grief portion of the episode, but tonight I want to concentrate on that one single line. He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. Rachel found out from released hostages that were with her son Hirsch of blessed memory that he had said this line all the time. It was his go-to to motivate himself and the other hostages. So much so that even when he was eventually separated from the hostages he had spent so much time with, they continued to say it as well. Or Levy, a hostage that was freed, told Rachel and her husband John that he had said this line at least once a day for 450 days. The last time he said it was on day 491, the day he was freed. They were seeing him 5 days later in the hospital on day 496. Hirsch was found dead at day 330. Or told Hirsch's parents that that one line meant everything for him, and it's what got him to survive. Hirsch said to him, "You have a son, you have a why." Or told Rachel and John that he was going to get that one line tattooed on his arm once he got stronger. When they saw Or weeks later, he had a new tattoo, just one line in English. Rachel then challenged each of us by asking, "What is your why?" The world could be falling apart, nothing can be solid. We're worried about the future, but what is your why? What Hirsch was teaching his friends in captivity and what Rachel is teaching us all now is that really just giving up isn't an option. Succumbing to fear, opting out of caring, or trying to make things better isn't an option. Each of us must find our why. Our ancestors did. Their why was freedom. Their how, faith in God and Moses, and apparently, from all that we read, incredible endurance and a whole lot of chutzpah. I hear about people's why most often at rehab facilities. When I visit someone and they are in physical therapy, they almost always say, I have my granddaughter's wedding to get to, or my grandson is graduating and I will be there. In these cases, they knew the how might be hell, but they didn't care. Their why was all that mattered. As you are sitting there and perhaps answering this question, I want to challenge you further. For most of us, like the people in those PT gyms, the answer is probably family. For others, it might be friends. And I want to go beyond pets too, because obviously for any of us pet parents here, that would be an obvious why. I want us all to go further. What is your why? Anyone have one that's not friends, family, or pets they want to share? I do have a microphone. Or you can just shout it out. Anyone? Ooh, I like that. Love, beautiful. Amen. Good health. Nothing else really works at that point, right? Nature. Ooh, good one, Austin. Nature. Love that. Those are good. Well done, everyone. For me, after much thought, I think I would have to say my why is to bring comfort to others, or maybe to do my part to assure that the next generation of Jews is still Jewish. Maybe both. I can tell you that both of those motivate me to keep rabbiing every day, even when I think I'm making zero impact. As a Jewish people, we all have a collective why, to ensure Am Yisrael Chai, that the people of Israel literally and figuratively lives. As many have said, every Jewish child born is a victory against Hitler. Every bar mitzvah and Torah class and Seder and bris is a victory against the tyrants of history. The mere existence of about 12 million of us is in and of itself a why. Knitting lap blankets for seniors can be your why. Baking at the Kemach Club is a great why. Schlepping your grandkids to dance is an important why. It's not about how big someone else might perceive your why to be. It's what motivates you and only you to keep going through whatever muck and mire you feel like you're drowning in. If you have a why, you can get through almost anyhow. As we say goodbye to Passover tomorrow morning and start counting the days to Shavuot, think about how Hirsch and the other hostages counted the days of their captivity and how every day they used their why to see just one more day. And just like Or had a reminder of his why from Hirsch, if we keep Hirsch in our hearts, he can remind us too. If we do that, perhaps we can help Rachel and John figure out their how to survive their days without him. Let's honor them and Hirsch and the 59 remaining hostages by doing just that. As our festival of freedom comes to a close, I feel like it's the least we can do. And if you can't find your own why, I just gave you one as a placeholder. Shabbat shalom.